And this brings me back to one more point that I have to make regarding this game. I mentioned it earlier. Tony Romo has gotten a lot of criticism for his broadcasting style over this past year. Now, let me take you back a couple years ago. For me, that's what I've always wanted to do as my profession, is to be a broadcaster, a color commentator, play-by-play. Either one is fine with me. When Tony Romo first got on the scene, it was like a breath of fresh air. I mean, it was amazing. Everybody loved Tony Romo. His type of commentary was new. It was innovative. You know, he was a former quarterback who was, for the most part, a pretty good quarterback. He would analyze things before they happened, and you would see it happen. You would get his insights about what a team might do or why they might do this. And some of his catchphrases and his quirkiness was not annoying. It added to the game. I mean, there were times where I've never really been the biggest fan of CBS broadcasts. I've always been a little bit bigger fan of Fox and NBC. But when a CBS game came on and Tony Romo was calling it, I kind of got a little excited. I was like, okay, I am enticed to watch this game a little bit more because of Tony Romo calling the game. Fast forward to this year into now. And started to notice that, and this is before I really looked into what other people thought about this. This is just my own personal opinion. I'd watch Romo and I'd listen to him, and I was like, he's doing the same thing he's been doing, but not at the level that he was. It came more as he's just saying things just to maybe say them. And you get the really, interesting and different sound effects where it's like, oh, Jim, I don't know, man, here we go. We got to see how it works out. He did that when he first started, but it came off in a way where it was, man, he's really got me on the edge of my seat. I want to listen to what he has to say. I want to see this play. Where now, for some reason, it's kind of coming across as, man, I kind of wish he would just stop talking and let the play unfold. And I kind of noticed it a little bit this year, and I was like, maybe he's just having an off game. He's not hitting his cues the way he was, 1 or 2 seasons ago when he came on the scene. So, that kind of hurt some people who are not maybe his biggest fans. And there are some commentators that I'm not the biggest fan of, and there's some that I am. Personally, for me, my favorite commentator in the game has always been Mike Tirico. I think he's done the best job. I think overall he does a phenomenal job of calling the game, storytelling, his emotions and his voice when something happens. I've always enjoyed Mike Tirico. I really liked him and John Gruden on Monday Night Football. That was one of my favorites, and I enjoy him on Sunday Night Football as well. Now, last night, a lot of people were talking about Tony Romo, and not necessarily in the best way. A lot of people are very frustrated with his style of commentary. People saying, he's making strange noises, like I did earlier with the, oh, Jim, I don't know, we got to see how it happens. Oh, man. Or we've got the Patrick Mahomes. A lot of people saying, man, he is just really, really a fan of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, he's on a messed up ankle, but he's doing great. Patrick Mahomes, that ankle's messed up. People were, really frustrated with him saying that. And then also a lot of people just saying that he's not necessarily letting the plays breathe, not letting the action just unfold on the field without, injecting his voice and his commentary into the game. Instead of letting the play unfold, trying to make it unfold before we see it in a way. And, it's tough. Commentary is tough. I used to do it for, my college, UNC Charlotte, where I attended. I used to do commentary on the radio for men's and women's basketball games. It's tough. It's a tough job to do, but it's amazing. It's super fun. But, you got to have a balance. And I don't think it's over for Romo. I don't think he's going to get fired or anything like that. But I think he certainly has to come back and redeem himself a bit, maybe next year. I know a lot of people are kind of frustrated with his style of commentary when in the beginning everybody was really for it. A lot of people right now are big fans of Greg Olson. I think Olson does a really nice job. He does a nice job of breaking down things that you wouldn't see normally, and not necessarily things you wouldn't see normally, but things you just wouldn't think of. He sort of knows what's going to happen beforehand, but he does a really good job of explaining why that's happening on the field. And I think he's doing a nice job of that. Now, we all know that Tom Brady, whenever he decides to hang it up, has got a guaranteed gig at this moment to go to Fox, call some games. A lot of people don't want to see him get the boot whenever Brady comes, but, we'll see whenever that happens because Tom Brady never wants to retire. So I just thought that was an interesting piece of information. A lot of people are talking about it. And I want to do a video in the future, probably after the Super Bowl, looking at commentary teams, which ones I think are the best, the worst, how they can improve, things that I like. Because that's an aspect of the game I've always enjoyed. And that's why I wanted to be in, sports media and journalism and, one day sports commentary, because I like that aspect of watching a broadcast.